coming up in this video.
YouTube wants you to be successful so they can make money, and you can make money as well as a creator making YouTube videos. Canada, it was very rough. It's like one day you're in school and speaking in Spanish, and then the next day you're in a Canadian school. People, to monetize a channel, okay, within a 12-month period, you have to have 4,000 hours view time, I believe it is, and 1,000 subscribers. Okay, so with this new YouTube channel, I did it in 21 days. All right.
Okay.
21 days, man. A British passport, and I'm in Venezuela, Caracas, and like I said, I have a life there, so it was a very tough decision, actually, which was a family-owned business from my in-laws, but that did not work out either, and that lasted not even a few months, maybe a year, and we lost all the money that we saved from England. It was a very traumatic experience, to say the least. And that was not the right approach. Okay, and that's what entrepreneurship is in most cases. Okay, try to do something and then see, why is this not working? Why the views are not there? Why the engagement is not there?
This is Expat Experts.
Welcome to this new episode of Expat Experts. Today recording from Latvia, Peloponnese, Greece, with Daniel. Thank you for accepting the invitation and for welcoming you in your town. I don't know if you consider Latvia already your town or not.
I consider it my town, yes.
Cool. Daniel, it's half Venezuelan but born in UK as far as I understood. You lived in other countries. You are a composer, music composer.
Yes.
But you have a very, very interesting YouTube channel and social media channels called My Greek Life.
My Greek Lifestyle.
And you have quite a lot of subscribers. I think in the second part of the episode we will dig a little bit more into your channel and why creating this whole part. But I would say first of all, let's dig a little bit on your expat part of life, and how did you arrive here and why did you move through all these countries and your experiences. As always, reminder to subscribe to the channels, to YouTube, to Spotify especially, but of course follow us on social media, follow Daniel also. All the tags are always below the description of the episode as always. So with that said, we can start.
The Expat, episode 12 with Daniel Carrizalez.
You were born in UK.
So I was born in the UK, but I grew up in Venezuela, and all my family is from Venezuela. So it's just one of those situations of being born in a country, but not being raised there. So I left when I was, a year old, maybe.
Okay.
And then I returned to the UK when I was in my early 20s.
But in between, you lived also in other countries?
But in between that, I lived in Venezuela. My whole childhood is in Venezuela, but as well, I lived as a kid in Canada.
Okay.
For a couple of years, 4 years. And then went back to Venezuela again, and then I lived in the US before I went back to the UK. And I say go back to the UK because I was born there, and I always, I grew up with this idea of going to the place of my birth at some point.
You had some kind of connection?
I had no connection whatsoever in the UK, but I just, growing up in Venezuela, it always this, this thing like, oh, you were born over there, in Europe.
It wasn't the most common thing to do.
So even though some people have that type of background, for me it always seemed like, oh, it's this thing over there in England that I would like to go, not just to visit, but to actually live there.
Okay. And in US and Canada, you were a child when you lived there?
In Canada, I was a child, yes. I was between the ages of 5 to 8.
Okay. So was your family moving?
My mom was moving. My mom and we moved as a family quite a lot. And that's because my mom was studying at the time.
Okay.
So it was a situation like, hey, from Venezuela, let's go to Canada because I'm going to be studying and working. My mom is a retired doctor, psychiatrist.
Okay.
So it was one of those things like the whole family, let's go to Canada. And, that's where I learned how to speak English from an early age. But then that's, kind of stopped the studies and then we went back to Venezuela. So it has been a situation always of moving going somewhere and then going back to the place of where we come from, which is Venezuela. And then growing up in Venezuela, this idea that I wanted to go abroad because I knew how to speak English. But most importantly, going back to the place of my birth and like just go and check it out, you know.
Yeah, I get it. How was for you as a child like this back and forward? Did it feel like something absolutely normal? Maybe the fact that you were always going back to Venezuela, you maintained some of the friends back there, and even if you passed 4 years.
Yes, it's a funny thing because when I went to Canada as a kid, I did not know any English or French. Because where we were in Canada, we had to learn English and French. So it was quite like a culture shock. And this is back in the 80s. So if that means anything, you know, it was very like rough. It's like one day you're in school and speaking in Spanish, and then the next day you're in a Canadian school.
There was no process of integration.
There was no, I don't think. I think that today there might be some more
guided process.
Yeah, something like, okay, somebody, you know, migrated to another country, you don't speak the language and all of this. And I had the same problem when I went back from Canada to Venezuela as well. I lost a little bit of the Spanish.
Okay.
Because I was full on immersed in the Canadian culture. I mean, I was playing ice hockey. I was actually really hurt in a way that when I learned that we had to go back to Venezuela, because I was playing ice hockey. That was like a big thing as a kid. And I was really into it. So I'm like, well, I know that in Venezuela we don't have ice hockey. So how is that going to happen?
You don't have ice.
We don't have ice, yeah. So we went back, and then I lost a year in school because of that. Because I couldn't write properly in Spanish. So it has been
also kind of a critical age. I mean, if it's 5 to 9, which is like when you start writing properly, when you start like ambition. So it was hobby-wise, but probably school-wise also, etc. But maybe going back because you moved with your parents, but your family was still happy.
Yes, in Venezuela. No, everybody moved from Canada all the way back to Venezuela. So it's like my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, like a whole family. So going back to Venezuela again, and everybody has to readjust. It's not just me, it's my mom. Okay, she has to go back to work in Venezuela, whatever. My dad, the same. And it is a little bit of a shock for everybody. It's not easy to just move with one. Moving alone from one country to another and start all over again is one thing. Moving with a family, going back and forth, and I can only imagine how hard that can be now that I have kids myself. Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What about USA? When that comes like?
So USA, America came into the picture when I was in my early 20s, because it was like a stepping stone to go to England. So I went to America first because it was a lot more affordable for me from Venezuela to go to America and get some odd jobs to save some money in order to buy a ticket and get my life in order, sort of speak financially, because from Venezuela in terms of the economical situation, and again, I'm talking about back in the day, back in the 90s, late 90s. Okay, so, which was bad, but not as bad as it is now. But still, it's a real challenge for the average person to just be living in a country like Venezuela, save some money, and buy a ticket to England. I mean, it's not going to happen really, unless you're fortunate enough to have some cash in the bank. So I went to America first. I got some, whatever jobs I could get. I saved some money, and then from there I went to England, which is a lot more affordable, especially when you're earning dollars and you can just buy a ticket and go to England.
So it was like a step.
It was a stepping stone. Yeah, yes. My family moved as well to the States. My mom moved to the States many years. After we've been living in Venezuela, it's a little bit complicated. But my mom and my sister and my brother, they left Venezuela eventually in the early 90s. So they've been living there for many years. So for me, it was like a no-brainer to just go and, show up in their home, because I was left behind in Venezuela because I was studying. I had a life in Venezuela, really. Like I was studying, I had a job actually, and life was actually quite good in Venezuela. That's a funny thing that I tell people all the time. It's not that I left Venezuela because Venezuela is a struggling third world country. I mean, that could be one of the reasons, but I left Venezuela because I had this British papers because I was born there. So I was in between two worlds. Like I have everything that I need in Venezuela. I have girlfriends, friends, a life. I have a job and everything. yes, there's this aspect of difficulties the country like Venezuela or any South American country has. But now I have these papers that says that I'm British because I was born there, so I cannot, kind of like ignore that. So I always, had that in the back of my mind and said, like, okay, I need to go to England and check it out because
something that I wanted to ask you, the fact of being born in UK gave you the papers that it's a nationality or which kind of like?
Yes, because I was born in the UK. I have a British birth certificate at the time when I was in Venezuela, anyways, and I have all my papers. So for some reason, my parents never really got me a British passport or anything like that when I was a child because I'm Venezuela.
But they could have.
They could have, yeah, but because I'm Venezuela from my family side, and in papers, even in Venezuelan paper IDs and all of this, it just says that I'm born in London. That's it, but I'm Venezuelan. So yeah, I have dual nationality. But when I was in my early 20s, I was looking for ways to get to England, and I wanted to fix those little things. Like have a British passport before I arrived, even though I could travel as a Venezuelan citizen to England and just show up there and go to the town hall and arrange all of that. Like, hey, what's up? I'm here. This is my name and this is my old birth certificate. But I did all of that in Caracas, actually, in Venezuela. So I applied for my British passport in Venezuela, and I was quite shocked of how quick the whole process was.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that this kind of process.
So one day I'm like working. I used to work back in the day in a recording studio in Venezuela, and the embassy at the time was very close to the studio, and it was very convenient for me to just have my papers, have everything. I would go to walking distance to the embassy and apply for the thing. That's the picture, whatever. That's the papers, and then within a week, really. Go, and so it was quite surreal to just be in Venezuela like that, never been to England, and go to the British embassy, whatever, and then just like have my papers like a British.
Probably a little bit more complex in London.
Yeah, so I had a British passport, like and I'm in Venezuela, Caracas, and like I said, I have a life there, so it was a very tough decision to say like I cannot just ignore this. I mean, I could have. And just maybe go to England and just travel as a visitor. But I knew I wanted to leave Venezuela. And
And where was this step in USA exactly?
In Houston, Texas. So I have a lot of family members that left Venezuela in the 90s and afterwards as well. But my mom left Venezuela and she's been in Houston, Texas. So for me, it's like, okay, I want to go to America. And obviously, yes, I arrived there. So I stayed with my brother at one point, and with my mother as well. And I just got whatever jobs I could get, like fast food restaurants, like McDonald's and whatever. Just like earn some money on the side.
Piling up cash to be to the job.
Yeah.
And how long did it take for you to be able to?
I was between a year and 2 years in the States. It was a long transition because living in Houston, I adapted very, very quickly as well to the life in America, and I managed to meet people, and but because of visas and time that I'm allowed to stay, it was very complicated. So I had to go. There was a period of a year or two that I was in the States, and then I went back to Venezuela because of visas. And then at the same time, I was changing my mind as well. I was not sure if I was going to be able to make it emotionally, not financially, because I was in America and I was working and I was having something going on, but I was missing as well my old life and my friends and And like I said, I had something going on in Venezuela, so it was very tough to give it up. Especially at that age, early 20s, and it was a cool job as well in a recording studio. So I was already blessed in Venezuela. Like, I can't say that I was unemployed or I had any type of hardships in any way or shape or form to say like I need to leave this country. And it was actually quite the opposite. I was not financially secure, but in terms of like what I was doing, I certainly felt very, very blessed. So it was a tough call.
Yeah, specifically with that age, like being early 20s, saying, fuck it all, leave it. if you are in a bad situation, it's more easy.
It's easier, yes.
So at that point of time, you made that call?
So between those 2 years, what happened is that I left Venezuela. I quit my job. I broke up with my girlfriend and all of this, the whole thing. I was in Houston and I was working in a McDonald's for a few months, and then they were kind enough to understand about me leaving the country because of visas and whatever. Don't want to get into the legalities of it all, but I just had to leave the actual country, and they were okay with it. They're like, listen, I have to go back to Venezuela. I don't think you can do that nowadays in the States. I mean, like go and show up like a tourist and just get a job. I'm sure it's much harder now. But I did what I had to do, and because I spoke Spanish and English, it came in very handy. Because my manager in Houston did not know any Spanish, the people that were working there, they're pretty much just Spanish speaking, and they don't speak any English. And even though I had no qualifications or no experience in fast food, I managed to just get in. But they were very kind to say, like, yeah, go back to Venezuela for a month or two, and then come back whenever you're ready. But in that process, when I go back to Venezuela, I still have that old job, so to speak. And I'm hanging out in the studio and I'm with my friends, and because it's music and it's a very.
So back in the day, we were already around composing and.
I was not composing. I was working in a recording studio, just recording other people's music.
Doing the recording. So.
Yeah, and I was in a band as well, so it was very, it was an atmosphere that I was like, okay, this is where I belong. So 1 minute I'm working in McDonald's, and then the next minute I'm back in Venezuela, in my environment.
The music like live and everything.
So there was a process like that for 2 years, and until I went back to America, and finally I had to make up my mind, really, because I was not going to stay in the States. So I was like, either I stay in America, which is not going to happen because of visa and this kind of things.
So for you, it was like either I go to UK because it's something that I had in the back of my mind for a very long time, or I go back to Venezuela because I have my life more or less done.
Yes, America was not it was never a plan to stay in America for good. But I did meet people in America. I met good friends, made good friends and everything. But I couldn't stay because of visa, and because I was old enough already. My mom could not apply. Like, hey, I have a kid. But that was a good position to be in. Like, okay, either Venezuela or England, which is the original plan. And eventually I managed to go to England. And then the same thing happened, by the way. Once I arrived in England, it was like, okay, this is a shock. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know anybody. I don't have enough money. And I only survived for a couple of weeks. And then I went back to Houston. Not because of visa issues, but because of money. And the shock was like, okay, I don't know if I can actually make this happen. And that happened. It was kind of like the same process. A lot of back and forth. Not a lot, but a couple of times.
And a lot of mental.
Yes, I was just drained. Yes, I mean, at some point I was in England calling my friends back home in Venezuela saying I can't do this, and I'm actually going back to Venezuela. So I have given up already. And in my mind, I actually called my friends and like, I'm going back. Do I still have a job? All of this. And I did it actually. I actually gave up the whole idea of being in England, even though I was there, and it changed my life completely just being there. Because I went to the place where I was born, right? Like I was like, this is the house where I was born. This is the hospital. So for me, it was very important that.
London?
Yeah, London.
That's a shock also because London is a very special city in itself. It has its own vibe, its own way of doing things.
Yeah.
A lot of this work mentality also, which doesn't help people to make friends easily. So.
Yeah, but I didn't survive that long there. I arrived in a couple of weeks, and then I ran out of money very quickly, and I went back to Houston, and then from Houston, same story. I don't want to be in Houston. I can't stay in Houston anyway, so I'm going back to Venezuela, and that's what I did. Only to repeat the whole cycle all over again, and then go back to Houston one more time, and then go back to America to England. So there was a lot of back and forth. I was very afraid of just cutting or burning the ships, so to speak. Very, very hard. I wouldn't like to go through that again. Yeah.
Can you imagine? Sounds difficult.
Yeah, it was.
What is the trigger then that decided? When is the moment that you say, okay, now I'm staying?
When I was in England, my second time when I went to England, that it was like my second time and probably the last chance that I had to just, okay, I'm here, I don't have any more money. And the first week I couldn't find a job. Second week, I was just like, okay, there's no way I'm gonna survive another week here. And I was living with an English family who were renting flat rooms for students and for people that were just from other countries. And there was two flatmates there. One of them said to me, like, they're looking for somebody to work in Starbucks, which is a coffee shop, obviously. And and they're looking for people, and you seem to be good for the job since you have worked already in McDonald's. So everything kind of like unfolded very quickly. So at that point, I'm already like giving up on the idea like this might happen. But I show up to Starbucks the next day, and I said, you know what? I have already qualifications. I have experience in the fast food industry, blah blah blah, customer service, and kind of like again the same issue is okay. What's your status? So I felt very empowered because of that. I said, well, I'm a British citizen, even though I don't look British or I don't sound British. So I could just get a job like that. It was just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And the reason why I got a job in the Starbucks shop is because there was nothing else at the time for me. It was just like, I need something right now. So I got a job. I used the whole McDonald's experience because of that to get that job. And that was my first step in the right direction to get a life in England. And that's where I met my wife. And I didn't last that much in that job, but that's where I met my wife, which I'm still married with up to this day. So,
well, at least you extracted a very good part.
Yes, it was very good. It was a good entry into England, and for me to just earn money, be around other people. Yes, meet my wife at the time, and I stayed. And I stayed there for more than 10 years, roughly. My daughter was born there in England. Probably fast forwarding very, very, very much. But yeah, I managed to actually get a life in England, like from scratch, like just rebuild my life in the place where I was born, that was a big goal for me. More emotional more than anything else. Like, okay, I want to live here. I will always be a foreigner because I'm from Venezuela, but at least I can be here and like, hey, I have the papers, I have everything, I speak English, and I can work and, just do what immigrants do when they move to another country. Just get a life, get a place to live, and just find something to do really with the skills that you have.
Makes sense. I mean, we all did that a little bit, like people. I suppose when you're going to a place without having a job, that's the level that it unbalances a little bit everything. As soon as you balance that part, you can start building a life of like hobbies or friends or whatever. But the financial part, even if it's not so great, it marks your life in a way.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why people move to other countries, isn't it? Yeah. So, I mean, if you're gonna go somewhere else, it's like either because you have a work offer or there's more job opportunities and all of this, or you work online and you just want to go somewhere else, and it's just a matter of like, okay, can I go there? Yes. How are you gonna live? That's the main question.
Yeah, definitely. What about the composer part, or when do you reconnect with music in this whole?
Yeah,
you have 10 years in UK, but you enter through fast food. It's like the jump.
Yes. Okay. So obviously, like every person that goes to another country, either you have the qualifications or not. The truth of the matter is that most of the time, like degrees or these kind of things are either mean nothing in a foreign country, or you need to get like something that is something like that. So for me, in my case, I didn't do that when I went to America because I was just passing by anyways, and I was not even allowed to work anyways. That's the reason why I got into McDonald's, because it was an easy job that I can get under the radar. And when I went to England, I wanted to kind of like work in a recording studio and do some other things, but at the same time, I was just trying to explore different things. And again, I got the job in Starbucks very quickly just to get some quick cash and some money. I quit that job, and eventually, I didn't last not even a year in that Starbucks job. It was very, very quick. Okay, so I arrived, I got the job, I met my girlfriend, which is my wife right now. But I quit, and I got a job in a guitar shop in a famous street in London called Tin Pan Alley, Denmark Street, where all the guitar shops are. And that was amazing for me. It was a good job because it's just guitar shop. Yes, it's retail, but it's not just a shop. It's like a whole cultural thing in that street.
Well, it reconnects you with music again.
It reconnected me with music. I met great people there, and it gave me the flexibility to reconnect with everything that I was part of in Venezuela. Even though I'm not working in a recording studio, at the time computers were coming along, the internet. I'm talking about early 2000. So I realized that you can actually do what I was doing back home in Venezuela in the studio. I can do it now with a computer at home, and that was mind blowing to me. So it was like a transition. That's before Facebook or YouTube or anything like that. I sound like an old man already, but that transition when I was in England working in a guitar shop and I could see what was happening with the internet and computers and having softwares on a laptop, it kind of like made me reconsider the whole idea of working in a recording studio. Because recording studios were adapting the technology of computers and things like that, but now you can do this at home. And that really fascinated me.
Okay.
So as soon as I got a computer at home with my wife, and I still remember like going home and I had this software to make music, and I was just blown away that I could actually just come back from the guitar shop and just record my own playing. I mean, I used to go to a studio where I used to work in order to do this.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Now I'm doing it at home. So that was just, it completely changed everything.
It's a game changer, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I think for everyone.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. You know, if you can tap into it and understand what's happening. So I lived through that transition of like no computers, no smartphones, nothing. And then to be able to be in a country like England from Venezuela and then have access to computers and, you know, very easily to afford it. It's much more affordable to buy a computer in England than in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. Even back then, you know, like even with a job of, you know, at the time my wife was still working in Starbucks and I'm working in a guitar shop. You know, and then they were like,
afford the computer.
Well, we're not well off, obviously, but we're living in London. We're like, you know what, we need a computer. That's what people have nowadays, you know. Like, let's go get a computer. You know, they get us music software, and we're just like, what is this, man? You know, and what is this online thing that I can go now and check some stuff about music? Yeah, I got a printer as well, and I was just printing all of this music stuff because I still could not comprehend that you will have access to it all the time online.
Yeah.
And I will just print it out like a maniac and
like everyone.
I feel that this is going to go away, so let me just print all of these things that I'm just finding online. Yeah. And that's how I got back into the music slowly. But I was thinking more about doing it from home, and how the next challenge was like, how can I do that and earn money like that, and how can I go kind of like freelance in a way or go solo?
Yeah, that's the next question that I wanted to ask at the end, like, because one thing is like, okay, I can do it at home, but of course there is a matter of talent involved. Yes. You are good or you are not. But there is also a matter of, in the music industry, there is a matter of context, there is a matter of like being in the correct place in the correct time, and clicking with something to be able to live out of it, because there is nowadays thousands and millions of great musicians out there which have zero recognition right now because they don't have the capacity for writing people.
Yes.
How did that work for you? How did you work? When is the moment that you are capable of like saying, oh, now I can live out of this?
Okay, so once I'm living in England and I have a day job, then it's very easy to just kind of like chill out a little bit, you know. And for me, having a day job was good and bad at the same time, because I'm now getting an income. I have a cool job. It's a guitar shop, you know. I have a lot of flexibility. It's not a franchise. It's like a family-owned business. So it was a cool place to work, and the people that I was working with as well. And again, even though it was retail and we were selling guitars and equipment for musicians and even studio stuff, the network of people that I managed to make in England was just, to me, was mind blowing. That I could just be in London and know people. I can walk down the street and be around central London and, you know, just feel like, okay, I have recreated that aspect of my life that I always wanted to create. Okay. Like that sense of belonging, I guess. Uh-huh. So that was very important to me. So once I accomplished that, for me, I kind of like took the foot off the gas, so to speak, in terms of the career. Okay. Like my dreams and goals. I'm like, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur online or whatever. So slowly, I tried to see how can I do this on my own, and how can I actually, you know, find ways to do it from home. But it was not until I moved from the UK here to Greece that I actually managed to accomplish that.
Okay.
All right, because in England, I just was very comfortable, which is a terrible place to be in terms of like I have a job, I have a girlfriend, I have everything I need. You know,
everything is too comfortable.
Everything is cool now, so there's no need for me to rock the boat. In the meantime, my wife went from working in Starbucks to working in a school as a lab technician. She actually went to study and became a teacher for secondary school. So she actually transformed her career kind of like at the same pace that when we met, but I stayed in the same. Like I stayed in the same job. I thought this is too precious to let it go. Even though I cannot go anywhere higher, it's one of those jobs that okay, it's either that or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And my wife did all of these other things. She became really successful in her own right, doing all of these things. She got a good job as a teacher in England with all these benefits and all of these things. But then we got married, and then my daughter was born in England, and then that's when I decided to leave the UK here to Greece. Not only because my wife is Greek, but because I have been here to Greece before, and Greece is very similar to my culture, Venezuela, and
is it?
Yes, very similar in terms of the warmth of the people, and it's much closer to my culture than England.
Okay,
let's just put it that way. So as soon as I have a family, and we're both foreigners living in the UK with a newborn baby, we don't have anybody around, right? It's a tough thing for me, anyways. And as life is happening, I actually tried to convince my wife, and I actually managed to convince her to come back to Greece. So we can start all over again from scratch based on my background. I'm like, well, I've done this before, like back and forth from one country to another, start all over from scratch. Now it's a little bit of a challenge because now I'm married, I have a kid, I don't speak Greek. I'm still learning to speak Greek, but I'm not, good enough to just go up. At least not like now. Like now I can speak fluently, and we moved here, and then, we had a job which was meant to be the main source of income, which it was a coffee shop.
Okay.
It's a family-owned business, so it was a great plan. Come to Greece with your kid and with the wife, and just arrive to this job, which was a family-owned business from my in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
But that did not work out either, and that lasted not even a few months, maybe a year, and we lost all the money that we saved from England. It was a very traumatic experience, to say the least. And from there, I became a stay-at-home dad here in Greece, which is a foreign country to me at the time, and without speaking the language, and flat broke. And this is where I had to take stock of my skills and everything that I know, and say, how can I put this into good use? Of course, where? Working online. So I had to go through some kind of heavy trauma. I hate to use that word because it's so overused on the internet, but midlife crisis, I would like to say, because I was around 35 years old and just became a father for the first time, and I don't know what I'm doing. And now I'm in a foreign country,
So a lot of questions at the end, passing by your head. Being a new father, it brings already, I suppose, a lot of
So it was everything
questions.
together. It was everything together. Okay, baby born, and then leave the country. So pretty much just cut everything. And at this point, there's no going back, by the way. When we moved here to Greece, even though the first year was very, very hard, we wanted to go back at one point, but we couldn't. It's just financially. So I was going back to the old patterns of can I make it in another country? Go. Maybe I'm having second thoughts, or things are not as easy as I thought it will be, and then go back and then try to
Yeah, but you can do that when you're alone.
Yeah, but now,
You are able to do that if your family, it's the place where you go back, when you are alone, when you don't have a kid, when you don't have a wife.
But I met a lot of people like that, especially in England. A lot of people, especially in a city like London, people that go there and study, they work for a little bit, and then they realize that it's not what it is.
Too much.
It's too much, and they go back to Australia or whatever. A lot of people that I met from all over the place.
But you say one of the biggest things is that your wife is Greek. So that
it's because my wife is Greek, and because I have been to Greece as well. But I wanted my kid to have family, grandmother or grandfather, an extended family. That was very important for me as well. Yeah. But it's a price to pay for that. And for me, it was just being unemployed. That was very hard. And that's how I started to work online.
That's good. So you came here in 2010, as far as I remember.
Yes.
So it's already 14 years here.
Yes.
Quite a lot. First year very rough, as you said. You have the coffee shop that it didn't work with your parents-in-law. Was it enough for you, the first place that you landed in Greece?
No, the coffee shop is in Elefsina. Elefsina is a small town very close to Athens.
In the middle of Athens and Africa, actually. Like,
it's in between, yes. It's in between. So we arrived there because my wife is from there, and that's where my in-laws live.
Okay.
And we have a few aunts. Well, I say a few aunts because I consider them as family as well, and I know them for many, many years. So I've been with my wife since 2001. Okay, so it's like many, many years, probably pretty much like half of my life. So I've met my Greek family from my wife's side for a long time. From the first time I came here, we were living in England, and so yeah, Elefsina, that's where we were living in Elefsina. And yes, it's not Africa at all. It's a completely different vibe. So my life is 100% different because I lived in this place in Africa.
Okay.
I've been living here only for 4 years.
4 years now.
Yes.
Okay. And all of the other years you were
In Elefsina. So I lived 10 years in Elefsina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why the move to Africa?
We loved it so much. We came here the first time, I can't remember when it was, but probably we've been here like 3 years, 4 years, living here in Greece, and we'll come here for holidays. Sometimes I will come here with my wife and my firstborn daughter, the one that was born in England. I have 2 daughters. But at the time, it was just Fedra, and we will come here for holidays, and I just fell in love with the place. And the idea, when we were living in England, I was very into living in the Greek dream in a Greek island.
Okay.
Because I didn't know much about Greece, and I've only been to a Greek island in the summer for holidays. My wife kept telling me, like, it's really hard. It's not probably something that we want to do. So she always tried to, like, ground me a little bit. Yeah, so when we came to Naphtali, I'm like, this is like living in a Greek island, but it's not an island. Even though that Peloponnese could be said that it's technically an island. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, one of the things that we always recommend to people who come here is to Greece in general is that some of the islands are overrated right now for what they are. And if you're coming off season, everything is good.
Yes.
While Peloponnese offers same beaches, the same whatever. I don't want to touristify Peloponnese, so I'm not going to sell it too hard, but I must say that for me, like already 3 years living in Athens, and coming here, it's a way of calming down. So you escape a little bit.
Yeah. What part of Athens you live in?
Agrati.
Okay.
Which is okay, you're close to the center. It's a calm neighborhood. But Athens, it's still overwhelming.
Yes,
It's a big city. It's a lot of people living in it, a lot of traffic. Here you come to nothing. All the streets are without cars. Like everything, it's like a little bit more calm. Of course, the old town, there is the Palamini. You can go to the beach easily. You can take a walk into the nature in no time. But I don't know, like I'm still a very city person, maybe.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. I'll tell you that. I mean, for me, living here, we moved here in the midst of the pandemic, like in 2020, right when the whole thing broke out. But because it was a dream in the making for many, many years, we were still very happy to be here, even on lockdown. But it is a small town. It's very easy to integrate, which is great for me. But the only reason why we live here is because I work online. So that's a very important aspect of this lifestyle.
So during the years in Elefsina, when you managed to start doing everything online, to build your brand, to build your
Yes. Well, I started to first try to look for ways to how can I make money with the music. So that was number one. I tried to do other things on the side that did not work out, or I just felt overwhelmed by it. Like I guess most people that want to start working online, they want to do what others are doing. Okay, like affiliate marketing or drop shipping or stuff that probably is not close to your heart. So I certainly went down that route or that route, and it did not work out. Obviously, as soon as I realized how much goes into affiliate marketing or drop shipping or whatever it is, that I don't care about those things. I said, like, there's no way I'm gonna do this online like that. I'm not gonna put that amount of effort. So again, go back to the same thing. Like, I have to work with what I got, and what is it that I have? What is my knowledge? What is my expertise? What do I know? And it's music, and just try to use it as much as possible in a very specific way, though. And that's where the music composition comes into play, because I like to compose. I don't like to play in a band. I don't like to tour. I don't like to collaborate with other musicians. I don't do none of those things. I don't play in bars or anything like that. I'd like to be at night with an amp or guitar, nothing like that. So I like to be at home using technology in order to compose music. So I had to get very specific into the things that I wanted to do with the skills and my talents and my abilities. Which is what I tell people all the time when they're like, "Oh, what can I do when I work online? What should I do? I'm a photographer." Okay, but what type of photographer? Are you a wedding photographer? Are you? What exactly is it that you want to do? So really specialize and see how can you do that online, because it's not exactly what to do, but not what not to do. Like I can give you a list of the things that I don't want to do as someone who's in the music niche, and then I've just like stripped it down to just one thing, which is a composition and the ability to do it from home or with the internet. I cannot do it with a smartphone, which is mind-blowing. It's not ideal, obviously, but I started that process back in 2013. So I was a stay-at-home dad, looking for ways to do something online, and at the time, watching a lot of YouTube videos and learning about composition, not composition and how to put the music together, but how to put the music online to sell it, okay, like as a product. So that's when that started. And then from that, I started to do a YouTube channel talking about that.
Okay.
So I created the music in order to earn money. You can see that that's my day job. And then I created a YouTube channel documenting that process of how I do the music and monetize the music, okay, as a stay-at-home dad. So that was my page online. That's my first YouTube channel.
Cool. And then after, maybe one of the biggest questions that it always comes up is language.
Yes.
How difficult it was for you to learn Greek?
It was difficult. I was learning since I was in England. I even went to school in England. After my guitar shop job, after work, I will go to a place like probably twice a week or so right before we move. And I was always studying, but it's very hard. There's no shortcut. I mean, it's just so hard. Spanish, that helps a lot with the Greek. I mean, if I'm studying Greek or I'm connecting with the Greek language, English means nothing. Somehow in my brain, English is like, okay, this language is great, but if you're going to learn a language like Greek and you know Spanish or vice versa, then English does not really help. But I did learn to speak Greek very well over the years. I've been here for 14 years, but it's been a challenge because I work online and I work from home. So I don't have Greek co-workers. I don't have, the usual.
Force you to.
My wife speaks Greek. Obviously, I have two kids. My daughter Melina was born as well in 2018, so she's 6 now. There's a big gap between the kids. So I have a 14-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter. So there was a big gap because those years were trying to find a life here in Greece. My wife managed to get a day job in Athens as an editor and with a company that is editing books. And because she speaks English and Greek very, very well, then obviously this kind of job is good for her. A lot of foreigners actually working in that company, like English speaking.
Okay.
So it's a cool place because we have met people that are living here in Greece as well, that they're British from Australia, but a lot of British as well that they live here in Greece because they have a job there. And similar people like you and me, like we're not from here, but we work here, we're married to a Greek or whatever, there's some connection there with the Greek.
And there is still something that binds us here. We are not fully disconnected.
No, yeah.
Culture.
But I learned the language obviously because we speak in the house Greek. We speak Greek, English, a little bit of Spanish. I'm trying to incorporate the Spanish more into my household. It's been very, very hard because growing up, my first daughter growing up here, I tried to speak a lot of Spanish, but I was learning Greek, so it was very hard. And she knows a little bit Spanish, but it has come to the point like if I don't keep on talking Spanish, they're not going to be able to learn Spanish either, unless they want to do it by themselves. And I speak Spanish with my mom and with people from Venezuela, but over a long distance call. But that's it.
I mean, it was also one of the parts of being in a smaller place or smaller city like Nafia is also the community of people, international people. It's also smaller, I suppose. Like, I don't know if there is a lot of people here who speak Spanish.
Here, well, actually, in Nafia, because it's a tourist destination, there's a lot of people from all over the place, and I've seen it's a little bit harder. I did meet someone that is Greek that lived in Venezuela, funny enough, in Alicina.
Okay.
So you'll be surprised. I mean, there are a lot of stories out there, and you might be able to connect with people. But here, there's a lot of people from all over the place that live here or that live here temporarily. So yeah, but language has been a struggle for sure. Now I'm okay, but it has always been a struggle. Yes.
I suffer it also. And I did German and Greek one after the other, so I went the hardcore route also language-wise.
It must be hard to speak in German as well.
It also helps a lot with Greek though, because the grammatic is very similar.
Right, okay.
The whole declination, the whole neutral forms, all
Right,
of these, it's the same in German also, so
Okay.
it helps a bit. Cool, so I would say before we jump into a little bit like the part of your new YouTube channel, because it's not the composition one, although if you want, we can also talk about that one. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about, I'm doing this kind of new section, let's say, like
Yes,
in the episode where I want some recommendation. Like the first one would be if there is any Greek band, any Greek song, music that you love, that you would like everyone to know about it.
It's hard, man, actually. I have no idea. I'm so old-fashioned. There were a few Greek songs back in the day. I'm talking about 2010 when I arrived, and before that, those years, 2009. But now, currently, I'm not really connected with what's happening in terms of Greek music, you know.
Okay.
And if I say something, my 14-year-old daughter is gonna be
angry because you're saying all
like, "Oh my God, you just mentioned the worst band ever."
I'm still listening to Triple, for example, and they are all here. So.
I do like to listen to Greek music. Don't get me wrong. I'm more interested. Listen, there's a few bands that they're quite old-fashioned. For example, Melises. Okay, that's a famous Greek band. What other ones? There's another band called Bruja Muerta, which is from these guys from what they call. I can't remember their name now, but they're into. Boom bap, kind of like hip hop, Greek. Active Members, that's the name of the band. Active Members, exactly that. So Active Members, for example, is something that I was introduced by a friend, by Matubaros, which is a friend. He's a Greek, and I don't know how you say that in English, Cubaros, but I believe it's in Spanish it's Padrino de Boda. Godfather, So he was into that. So yeah, but these are old bands, you know, Active Members and that kind of like
old music. It's good music,
and I like that. Yeah.
I'm also more into the old music than the new music. So
and that's like
maybe your 14 years old daughter will not be happy with with my music either. I think.
Yeah.
Cool. And here in Nafio, any recommendation for everyone who, restaurant, bar, coffee place, any place that you say, oh, here it's my spot here in Nafio?
Listen, there's very different places here in Nafio when it comes to food and drinks. Here in the Old Town, you're going to find many places. I can't say one specific one, okay? But when it comes to just having a coffee, I'm a little bit of an old-fashioned guy as well. Like I like a low-key, more traditional. And I don't know if it's because I'm aging, but there's so many trendy coffee shops that they're great, okay? But at the same time, they're so hip. I feel a little bit sometimes that it might not be my scene anymore. But I take the kids. I take my daughters, and we'll go. They can have something. An ice cream or whatever. But any place, there's not a specific one, but there's plenty of places here. I mean, it's one of the things that there's so many. We're spoiled for choices here, but my style is a little bit more old-fashioned, more low-key, like a Mesa del Polillo or a Cafenillo. Like a little bit more traditional, yeah.
And nature-wise, now we will talk about it. You walk a lot.
Yes,
so Is there any place here around that you say, okay, this is...
Yeah.
If you come here, you need to visit the other
So
place.
if you come to Napa, you go from the path, which is from Arbanitia Beach all the way to Caracas Beach.
Okay.
I did a video about that. That's like 5 kilometers roughly. It's a long walk, but it's a safe path to walk.
Okay.
It's not a hike. It's not like a hardcore hike, but it's something that is definitely a must do.
Cool.
Yeah, and I like to go there on a regular basis. Yeah.
Nice. So, with the recommendations, I would say we jump to the second part.
Yes.
Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying this episode until here. I just wanted to ask a favor of all of you and follow us in social media. You can find the links for Instagram, TikTok and Facebook here in the episode description and also in the episodes in Spotify and Apple Podcast. So it will be a great favor if you follow us. Also, we post a little bit more content in there so you get a little bit extra information on how the podcast is done and produced.
The Expert: How to Succeed with a YouTube Channel.
Second part, as I was saying, like you have YouTube channels, but you have now a quite successful YouTube channel for your life here in Greece. But you said you had other YouTube channels before that.
Yes,
like
yes.
You created content for quite some time right now. It's like,
Yes.
how did all of it start?
So once I started to work with the music online, I created a YouTube channel really quickly for the simple reason that I was at home as a stay-at-home dad, because I became unemployed when this business here in Greece did not work out very well. And I needed an outlet beyond the music. So my wife is the one who recommended me to actually open a YouTube channel and talk about what I was doing with the music.
Okay.
Because she will come back from her 9 to 5. I will be all day at the house with my daughter, taking care of her. And I will be doing the music as well. So whenever she will come back from work, I needed to release, a lot of what I was doing, especially when it comes down to the work. But my life in general, like my days, like, hey, I'm here in the house and I'm doing all these things. So like, you know what? It's very interesting what you're saying. And obviously I will get very pumped about what I was doing with the music and all of that.
But maybe she was not the audience.
I mean, she put it very blunt. Yeah, like put it very blunt. Like, okay, maybe you should say these things or put it somewhere where some other people that actually care about. That's my wife. She doesn't want to listen to me talk about what music am I working on or anything like that. So that was the original idea. I said, well, maybe she's right. Maybe I can create something because I love videos and I always had a passion for video making and for home movies behind the scenes. I always had an inclination for that. Not to be a creator myself, but I always loved this type of footage and old cam recorders.
Okay.
But I never really considered it to become a content creator. So I started a YouTube channel talking about my life here in Greece as a stay-at-home dad doing music for a living. And that's my first YouTube channel. And from there I became a coach and someone who can educate other musicians and composers on how to make music and license their music. So I'm in the music licensing industry. So I compose music for content creators, TV, films, documentaries, and all the rest. So by creating the YouTube channel, talking about how I do what I do online, living here in Greece, I became a coach just by creating content and educating people. So there was a lot of blogs about that. My life in Greece as a stay-at-home dad, I'm doing this music track, and I fell in love with YouTube right there and then. And that's back in 2016. And that YouTube channel grew very, very slowly, but it's such a small niche. But it became very successful as well. I still run that YouTube channel. But from there, I ventured into different areas as well, content creation, like entrepreneurship and mindset, because it's something that has helped me become someone that works online. Because of whatever else that happened at the time. Relocated from the UK here to Greece and being unemployed as a stay-at-home dad and flat broke, all of these things, I had to really not only figure out how to make the music, but as well, get my mindset really where it needed to be. It's not as simple as just like I want to work online and that's it. There's a lot of things that need to be done internally. So So whenever I was studying about online entrepreneurship or business or how to make money, everything was leading me to the path of self-development and personal development and mindset. So whenever I would buy a book about like how to make money online, or all the classic books about earn money online from big people from back in the day, it all goes back down to personal development and mindset and all of this. So I was a little bit frustrated, to be quite honest, because I wanted the tactics. But the reality is that you still have to do a lot of work internally in order to work for yourself. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. And that's why you need to know exactly what you want and be so sure of your abilities. And whenever failure happens, then how are you going to conquer that? It's not a question that if it's going to happen or not. It will happen. The question is like, what are you going to do about it? So I try to put that content in the music YouTube channel as much as possible. And some people resonated with that. It was very hard for me to just talk about the music and this is how you do it. They have to do a lot with the mindset and personal development, which is a hard thing to do with musicians. But musicians and artists have a lot of baggages, because I'm one and I understand that, so I'm talking from experience. And because, it's like, okay, there's no way I can do music, I can do my art, I can earn money with my art. Either I am a musician or a photographer or a painter or an author or whatever it is, it's very hard. So in order to overcome that, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I know that because I had to do that. So when I did that and I actually saw some success with the music, then I started to document that and share that on YouTube, really. And then I created a small audience. People were asking me questions. I said, like, well, what's the next thing? I have no idea what this thing is online. Meaning, I don't know about email marketing, about online courses, how to post something. I had no idea about anything of that sort, about that thing. So I learned along the way.
A lot of self-teaching yourself.
Well, the information is out there for you. So eventually I learned about email marketing, about how to build an email list, how to do landing pages and funnels and all of those boring terminologies that is out there in the online space. I read all the books. At one point I hired a coach and everything. I launched a course. I've never done a course before. My wife plays a big role in all of this because she's the one who has always pushed me to do something based on what I am good at. And because sometimes we need somebody from the outside to tell us, like, hey, you're more than this. Why don't you do this and learn about that? So she's the one who told me about very specific things. Like, okay, now you have a YouTube channel. Why don't you build an email list? And back then I did not know what an email list is or was. Like, I had no idea, and I did not want to know anything about it. But eventually I learned about an email list, what is it, and how can we, build a small list, a small following beyond a YouTube channel and all of that. And I built a business from the ground up, teaching about music.
Cool. So it transitioned from being a YouTube channel for you to be more like a documentation place where you documented your process and how you arrived to do.
What happens is when you create content, eventually people are going to ask you something. So whatever it is, and in my case it was the music, naturally people were asking, how do I make the music? How do I actually earn the money with the music? Okay, so they just want to cut to the chase. So you give them exactly what they need to do, but then there's so many things in between that they might need guidance with, okay? But again, I go back to the psychology. There's a lot of baggage. There's a lot of people that want to do, for example, money with music or with anything, quite frankly. But they usually don't have the support of their spouses. That's number one, okay? And number two, they're very secure, so they're not really willing to invest money either in buying a course or a book or even invest the time to learn and put that into practice. So the YouTube channel was just a natural evolution of what was happening in the online space, and I invite anybody to actually create any content of any sort, and people eventually will be asking you about something. Especially if you can resonate with someone else, you just need one person. I mean, the moment that I got emails and messages that like, hey, can I jump on a Skype, back then there was no Zoom, at least to my knowledge. Can we jump on a Skype so you can tell me about the music production? Like, I don't know this person. Some random guy that saw my videos on YouTube talking about music licensing. And I'm like, yeah, let's just get on a Skype call. We got on a Skype call, and the first time that I saw somebody that I'm talking to this person that I have never met before in my life. I just watched one of my YouTube videos, and he's writing questions. He has questions he has written, and I can see through the video that he's actually writing down the answers that I'm giving him.
So at that point you are teaching.
So I'm teaching, and I was like, okay, obviously this knowledge to me is so obvious. It's a no-brainer. You have to do this thing. And this other person on the other side of the camera is actually writing the answer. To me, this is like common sense. But this is because that's something that I do. Because that's the knowledge that I have, that you have to have it. So at that point, obviously, I can't do this anymore like this. I have to charge eventually. And then you create a course, and then you have customers, and then it's a business, it's an online business. Very successful online business in the music licensing space. And from there, I developed a passion for entrepreneurship. So I actually fell in love with email marketing, funnels, landing pages, and position, and all that. So that became a passion.
Marketing online.
And I realized that I can actually do something with that. I really love that aspect of entrepreneurship as much as I love to make the music. And yes, people were asking me, so how do you create the courses? Now I have musicians asking me, how do you create the courses? So now they know.
You need to do a course to learn how to do the course.
So how do you do the courses? How do you do the landing pages? Where do you sell the courses and all of this? So I'm like, okay, I have a passion for this as well. I really like this. And because entrepreneurship really is really tied up together to mindset and personal development, and somebody that will say otherwise, it's not really being truthful, because anybody that's successful in anything, they have a strong mindset, and they have invested some type of time and effort in their own personal growth. All right, at least in my experience and everything that I try to learn from other people that are way ahead of me, this has been always the case. So developing a love for entrepreneurship and try to teach other people how to set up their own online businesses is something that became like the next stepping stone. So now you're not only doing the thing, you're teaching about doing the thing, but now you're teaching how to do the thing, which is like kind of like a weird thing. It's very cheesy in the online space, like it will almost become a little bit weird, and this is where people get very like apprehensive and almost like skeptical, like this is a scam. So, but anyways, I started to do that as well. I launched another separate YouTube channel, tried to talk about that. And then as well, other things, like now I'm teaching about like, hey, this is how I build this online business, which is very successful. Talking about the music that I do and teaching about the music. And that became maybe it was a slow process of growing that channel because it's the business space, okay? And it was through the same lens. I work from home, I do music, I live in Greece, but I'm teaching about the business and personal development. In a way, like what is personal development? Well, invest in yourself, right? Your habits, your positive thing. I don't want to, I don't want to sound so cheesy, like wake up at 5 a.m. and meditate for 5 hours or anything like that, but just do things that the average person does not do. So anyways, that YouTube channel did not go very, very well. And I run that for a little bit. That's parallel to everything else that I was doing because I love to create content. I managed to do something. I managed to coach people and actually teach about the business and all of that. But I was stuck just on entrepreneurship, and I did not like that, right? Because my life is not just working online. My life is living here in Greece. And that's the birth of this new YouTube channel, which is my Greek lifestyle, which is pretty much my life here in Greece, describing everything that I just told you with a different front.
And it comes from kind of a born, or like not a born, but like, okay, I'm always with the same barriers of music and business or creation and entrepreneurship, and now I want to do something refreshing for myself. It's also part of it that it's niched, I think, because if you create a YouTube channel that talks about life in general, it's very difficult, no? But when you do it like about music licensing, about entrepreneurship, about your life in Greece, that gives you a set of people who are really interested in there. And the people who is really interested in there will arrive one way or the other.
Yeah, well, the thing is with content creation is that people will be drawn to you, not just because of the content, but because of the person that you are. And I learned that very well with music licensing, with the stock music licensing YouTube channel. That people were coming to me to learn about music, because of the story. Because I relocated from the UK here to Greece and I was a stay-at-home dad, right, working from home and trying to make ends meet with the music. That was the story. And that's what resonated with people. And even though you might not be a stay-at-home dad or you don't have kids, they really resonated with that. They kind of like found something in there. Like, I want to learn from this guy. That's how I became the go-to guy in that niche. However, in that channel, I'm still talking about lifestyle. Because I'm talking about, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I've never divorced myself from that idea. Like, I'm a stay-at-home dad and I'm living in a foreign country and I'm flat broke trying to make ends meet. So check it out. This is what I'm doing. This is my studio. All right. So it's a lifestyle, and that works really well in that space. Yes, it was very niche down, but still people were drawn to it because of the mindset. Because, and I'm only saying this because of the client's feedback. All right. Because this is how I acquire clients, and not only through the courses but as well one-on-one coaching. So a lot of the one-on-one coaches became a form of therapy, so to speak. Okay, therapy meaning that, okay, let's just it's not just how to mix the music and how to produce it, but, you know, why you want to do these things, and tell me more about why you're struggling, why it's not happening. It's like, okay, if you're making money online, or if you have a business and it's not working, like, okay, just tell me why it's not working, right? There's a deeper meaning for why things are not moving in the right direction. And it's usually something that we have to peel the thing and get to the bottom of it. And usually there is something that you're not looking at. So with music, that happened quite a lot. And that is a big part of that content. And I cannot just open a YouTube channel and talk about, this is how you mix the music, this is how you make the music, and this is how you sell it, right? So in fact, in that YouTube channel, I have very little tutorials. It's just my face talking.
Okay, so it's more like, it's very important for you, the person.
Yes, the connection. The connection, yes.
I think that's part of it. I mean, in general, like nowadays, if the people doesn't connect, doesn't recognize you as a person, if they recognize you like kind of like semi-code that exists there, but it's talking and nothing else, you don't know anything about this person at all, you don't build this connection. And this I think, scares people, especially when you talk about business, the part of scamming, and the part of like, if you don't show that you are someone, that you are as human as the other person who's looking from the other side, selling business.
I think that content creation is something that I will always be doing because I love to create content. When I started to create a second YouTube channel or a third YouTube channel, I have created actually a couple of them before I created my Greek lifestyle, which is the latest channel. I created one that was about business and mindset, but I was so niche down into email marketing and, you know, funnels and all of this, which I'm very passionate about, but I was not talking about the lifestyle so much. And whenever I talk about the lifestyle, it just seemed a little bit like it was not focused enough. So it was not the right approach. Okay, and that's what entrepreneurship is in most cases. Okay, try to do something and then see, why is this not working? Why the views are not there? Why the engagement is not there? I already have a successful YouTube channel in a particular niche. Now I'm talking about it, but in this niche, which is business, why am I not hitting the numbers? Okay, so that happened, and then I created another separate YouTube channel in Spanish, trying to go back to my roots and speak in Spanish about, like a Venezuela that left Venezuela many years ago, living in a foreign country, and tell that story of how I work online and how this is happening. And then I really considered doing it in Spanish. And I did launch it in Spanish, and I uploaded like 5 videos. The response was really good. But there was still something missing, and I can't put my finger on it. Okay? And then I was not happy with that, and I just decided to create a new YouTube channel, which is my Greek lifestyle, which is talking about all of these things, but just through a different presentation, a different package. Okay? And it's just about my Greek lifestyle, telling all of the things that I do under one umbrella, which is a guy who left Venezuela many years ago to go to England, to come here to Greece, and doing what I do today, which is work online. And the things that I do today is pretty much the things that I've just mentioned: music, content creation, coaching, and all of the rest. And this is just under the umbrella of my Greek lifestyle, which is a YouTube channel that is now 3 months old. But very quickly, not only this has been a success, but it has just opened so many doors and so many opportunities that I'm still blown away. And it's just by just changing one thing. Okay?
It's this click, no? It's like trying switches until you find the one that opens the light.
So now I'm talking to people. In the beginning, when I started my Greek lifestyle YouTube channel, it was like, okay, how can I help people experience Greece as a true local? That's my positioning. And then when I started to create YouTube videos, and then I offer services on my website, like I help people either relocate here to Greece or things that they want to know about Greece. Obviously, I'm not an immigration officer or none of that thing, but I can tell people like how things are. Really give them a little bit of direction where to go, and things that they need to do. And that's something that I offer on my website. And this is something that I set up very, very quickly. So I launched my YouTube channel, My Greek Lifestyle, and immediately I launched a website as well, mygreeklifestyle.com, which is, okay, this is what I do because of my background in business. Okay, so I'm not going to create a YouTube channel without having a website or a call to action or none of those things, because I just think that what's the point? And yes, you need to have an idea of how to monetize from day one. Okay, so when people try to do something online, then it's like, okay, so where's the business idea? How can you earn money? And even though this is a labor of love, it's a passion, I still need to know how I'm going to earn money with my Greek lifestyle. And I know that a lot of people that might watch this, or some people that they don't have that mentality of business or how to earn money in the online space, if you don't see that as an essential part of what you want to do online, then you're never going to earn money. Okay? And earning money online is something that a lot of people want to do, but they're not willing to actually go through the thought process of how they're going to actually do that.
What is what you're selling? Yeah. It's not a charity.
It's not a charity, even though I earn a living somehow doing something else. Because as soon as I started the YouTube channel, I immediately got some comments like, oh, you're only doing these videos about Greece because you want to earn some money or some clicks with this content. Because it is very easy to just go down the beach and go like, hey, what's up? I'm living here in Greece and I work online. Right? It's very easy to me because I've been doing that since 2016 when I was living in Elefsina anyways. But I was doing it through the lens of the music though. Yeah. Now I'm talking about my life in Greece and it's called My Greek Lifestyle, so it's a little bit different now and I present it differently. But it's the same thing. It's like, hey, I'm here, this is what I do. I'm going home to make music and I'm shooting a YouTube video as well. And I was coaching somebody yesterday about business. So it's all of these things together, all morphed, but presented under a different front in a way. So what happened is that I need to know what's going to happen with the content, and the content needs to lead to something. It has to be like something that I can offer somebody else. It's not just for fun, because I will do this thing for fun anyways, but there has to be some type of transaction, because otherwise it has no value. And
you invest a lot of time.
And it's not only about that, but it has to have some value. So for example, with My Greek Lifestyle, a YouTube channel, the first thing and the most obvious thing that you monetize is the YouTube channel itself. That's how you earn money. You create content, and YouTube wants you to be successful so they can make money, and you can make money as well as a creator making YouTube videos. Okay? So that's the first step. The second step is obviously through services. And like what was mentioned, like in-person meetings, which I have had already a few in 3 months. Okay? And the funny thing is that the people that want to meet up or they want to hit me up on Zoom call, it's not about relocating to Greece, but it's about how to work online.
So they are clicking through that, but from the other, they should be probably in the other website, or?
Yeah, well, the thing is that I now have condensed. It's not condensed. I have now pretty much just everything under My Greek Lifestyle. Okay. It has like slowly formed the transition. Obviously, this is just 3 months old as I'm talking about this right now. Okay, but originally it was just like help people experience Greece as a true local, which is still true. But because I'm reconnecting connecting with a different audience, I should say, as soon as I mentioned that I do music, then a whole bunch of people came
and clicked something
and said like, hey, I want to learn more about the music. So this audience did not found my other YouTube channel about the music, because that's just about the music. But now that I'm talking about Greece and lifestyle, because it's a Greek lifestyle and it's my Greek lifestyle, but that doesn't mean that I'm, eating a souvlaki or dancing Greek music.
Yeah, you're doing the local thing. You're not doing the marketing thing
Yeah.
for promoting Greece.
So I'm talking about the good side of Greece, of course, and the Greek lifestyle and everything that Greece has to offer as a country. But at the same time, I'm talking about what I do and how can I help somebody either come to Greece and visit Greece, do the things that you want to do here in Greece, not just as a tourist, but but a lot of things, as soon as I mentioned little things that you cannot hide, this is what I said to content creators or people that want to put themselves out there, you need to tell the whole story. So as soon as I said, I make music, and this is how I earn a living, this is my day job, then people start hitting me up. I want to learn about the music. How do I do this? They're like, oh, funny you mentioned that, because I have already a course in a business that is running. Go there. That's the music. I have other people that said to me, like, I want to learn how to work online. I have no idea what to do. I know that you're doing something. How do I do that? Like, okay, this is what you need to learn about. This is the thing that you need to do. Okay, how do we do this? Well, you have a smartphone, you have the internet. This is what you need to do. Okay, and this is what happened. Then I have other people that come and say, like, I'm going to Greece and, I don't speak Greek, but I was born in Australia and my family is Greek and, I'm looking to go and retire in Greece. And I don't know anything about Greece apart from what tourists know, Okay, let me tell you a few things. In Greece, this is the way it works. So it's kind of like a mix of things, but at the same time, in its essence, it's just living in Greece as a foreigner. And that's my position in helping people see how life is here in Greece. And it's just been, I'm just still like gobsmacked at what's happening just by changing a little bit of the approach and presenting myself in a different way. Always bringing it back down to my Greek lifestyle. So if we're talking about business, as a content creator, I try to bring it down to Greece. Because it all started when I moved to Greece. Okay.
Because it's the origin.
Yeah. Could I have started working online when I was in the UK? Absolutely. But I didn't. Okay. So it has to do with that. And nowadays, I want to teach people as well how to do YouTube videos, for example, or a YouTube channel. Okay. Because not only because I've been doing YouTube videos for many, many years, but now because of the success of this new YouTube channel, I know exactly what somebody has to do. Okay, so YouTube gives you a whole year, 12 months in order to monetize a channel. Okay, 12 months to monetize a channel and have 1,000 views. You have a YouTube channel, don't you? Okay, so you know about this. So 12 months in order to monetize a channel. Okay, within a 12-month period, you have to have 4,000 hours view time, I believe it is, and 1,000 subscribers. Okay, so with this new YouTube channel, I did it in 21 days. All right.
Okay.
21 days, man. That's like 5 videos, and that's 1,000 views. So as a YouTuber, I said to myself, okay, these numbers are insane. And I see other people online saying like, oh, how to monetize a YouTube channel in 4 months or whatever. So yes, if you do something, there's no way I'm not going to teach somebody else how to do that, even if that is something as simple as how to create a YouTube channel. I'm not out there promoting myself as a YouTube expert, but I know how to do YouTube videos and I know how to position things because of what I've just said here in the conversation that we were having. Not just because of the music licensing YouTube channel, but because of the other YouTube channels that did not go very well. Both the business one and the Spanish ones. Until I found this one and said, like, you know what? This is the one where I can actually talk about the same things with a different twist, but it's the same thing, really. So now people can hit me up with whatever they want to talk about. And when it comes down to the business, I can only teach somebody how to do business online by doing the things that I have done, nothing else. So I don't teach people how to do drop shipping or affiliate marketing, even though I have affiliate things based on what I use for my content creation of it, but I don't do crypto or Forex or drop shipping or none of those things. So
you teach whatever you have learned.
Whatever I have learned, yes. Like pretty much, and what I'm really focusing on is building a personal brand, an online presence through the personal brand and the story, which is what most people are lacking on, because not everybody wants to talk on camera. That's a big issue.
Yeah. Cool. I would say timing-wise, just ask one like question if you want, and it's how do you balance your personal life and because this is also about mental health, and I think this is a typical question when it comes to content creation. No?
Yes.
It's a lot of hours, it's a lot of dedication. You invest time into these things. How did you find the balance between your personal life? You have 2 kids, a wife, you have. I mean, my Greek lifestyle doesn't exist without having a life outside of the creation of the content, I suppose also.
Yes. So life is life. I'm at a certain age that I feel that I don't have time for anything really. Okay, meaning that all I do is family and work, and those 2 things are very tied together because I work from home. So at the moment, as I am recording this with you, I'm creating videos every single day for my Greek lifestyle. It's a daily vlog. It's not a daily vlog channel, but I have decided to go daily for the last month. I don't even keep track now. And the reason why is because when I started the YouTube channel, I release a video a week. See what happens. And then it was like, what the hell? This is going somewhere. So I want to make sure that fire is properly, yeah. So I decided to go more aggressive with the content creation, which is daily vlogs, for many, many reasons. Number one, because as a content creator, if you create content very sporadically, especially with something that is new, you lose that edge. And you start to have second thoughts. You feel like the content might not be where it needs to be. And even though I create content for other things, like the music licensing and all of that, this is something that is new and that's something that I really want to take care of, and I want to be able to really make sure that it has a strong foundation from the beginning. So creating videos every single day is not easy. But it's something that I can do, and I've done it before. Back in the day, with the other channel, I did it quite a lot, especially when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
I was doing daily vlog about the music though. And I'm like, hey, I'm locked up, but I'm doing the music. I'm here in this new place. We can't go out. Blah 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 blah. And that was like a daily vlog for many months. And before I started my Greek lifestyle YouTube channel, I did as well like daily videos for like a month or 2 in that same channel, Stock Music Licensing YouTube channel. So it's something that I have already done back before. It's not something that is new to me. With this one though, it's much more fun because I'm not talking just about the music. I'm not talking just about the business. I'm talking literally about lifestyle, which is something that a lot of content creators want to spread out or go into when they are so niche down. I know for a fact that a lot of fitness influencers or fitness content creators are talking about weight loss and just become healthier. They wanna transition into lifestyle, which is just their life. Like, hey, I'm going to the gym. Hey, this is where I'm eating today. I mean, they wanna have that. But they became famous or known for just this is how you lose weight. You do this thing, and they slowly become very like, okay, I don't want to do that. And for me, the Greek Lifestyle YouTube channel is the perfect channel for me to just, today I could be talking to you about the 5 things that you shouldn't do when you come to Greece. That could be very SEO strong, and people are like, oh my God. And I certainly done that. But then the next vlog, the next day, I'm going for a swim, and it still fits the content. And the reason why I want to do it every single day for a period of time, I'm not going to do it forever, but as it is, as of now, is because you want to create as much content as possible. So in this case, YouTube and Google understand that there's something happening, because obviously the platform wants you to succeed. So they can make money with the ads, and you can make money with the ads as a content creator, and they can push your videos. So if you're not creating content, then the YouTube is going to say like, well, what's going on here?
Why would they invest time in you if you're not investing time?
So a lot of people are very apprehensive when it comes to the amount of content that you need to create, either on YouTube, Instagram, or whatever the platform of choice is that you choose. The platforms want you to create content. YouTube is not going to say to me, you're creating too many videos. Okay?
Sure.
The only people that say that is people around you that when they see you that you're going too hardcore, they're going to say something like, listen, you need to find balance, and that there is no balance. The balance is what you do. So I'm recording this vlog, like I'm going to create a vlog from this. Right? When I met you here, I recorded a little bit. I'll probably record more a little bit when we finish this interview and I'm on my way back. That's a piece of content that somebody might be interested in. Saying like, okay, this guy created a video about an interview talking about expats. And it's all about the framing. It's all about how you present it and what's in there for the audience, okay? But at the same time, I'm doing it very selfish as well. The content creation, even though I want to create it for the audience, I'm creating it for myself because I need to see it. I need to hear it. It's a little bit weird, but because when you create content and you're a content creator, sometimes people think that you're doing it for the audience and what the audience wants. And I believe that it's about what you want.
Also, if you're incapable of listening to what you produce, a little bit like this. Okay, of course you put it out there for the audience, but if you're not interested in what you're doing, this is probably not going anywhere.
Well, listen, there's an element as well of sharing, okay? Obviously, we want to create content in order to connect with other people, to share, and yes, earn money with that, either with YouTube ads or with a course or a coaching program or a service or a book or merch or whatever it is, okay? But at the same time, if you go deeper into the psyche of a content creator, yes, they do like to talk, okay, which is something that we're mentioning right now. So if that's a skill that somebody has or something that you already have and you're going to be doing it, then you might as well just get in front of the camera and do it. Just find a focus, and talk about whatever you're passionate about. And that's the homework. Okay, what are you passionate about and how can you frame it, get some bullet points, and off you go. So the balance between creating content and what I do for a living with the music and all the other things that are happening in my life is all mixed up together. There's no distinction. Okay, so before I came here, I was just having a siesta, a nap. Okay, but I never have naps in the summertime or in the wintertime. It's one of the things that I want to incorporate in my Greek lifestyle, though, because it's part of the Greek lifestyle, right? Having siesta. But today, because I've done my work earlier on, and I was going to meet you as well, I was a little bit more chill. I was like, you know what? I'm going to meet Mark, and I have some free time. I'm just going to have lunch. I'm going to go for a siesta and wait for you to call me. And that's part of the life. So today is a different day. Tomorrow is a different day, though. But it's always the same. What content am I going to release? What's happening with the music? Because I need to compose music through always. So I'm always publishing. Yeah. I'm always uploading. So, but the music is so fun. So one thing feeds the other. So if I get a little bit too much with the content, too much video editing, I'm always having the music okay, that's so fun. But I don't do the music for fun though. The music is the intention is is this gonna be a product for somebody else? And the music has to create a revenue. If it doesn't create revenue, it's a big issue, because it is a business. If I create YouTube videos and there's no views, there is a problem. See what I mean?
Yeah.
So it all goes down to that. But the balance is just, for me anyways, is part of that lifestyle. And this is what I'm trying to convey with this new YouTube channel, my new lifestyle. And yes, it's hard work. I work 7 days a week, really. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go to the beach, I mean, I could finish here, and this could be work. I mean, this to me is related to work, okay? Because I've created a piece of content, I'm talking to you. And even though I might not earn something from this right now in the monetary form, it still feeds the thing, right? Whatever that is, and it's part of a bigger thing, which people are not really willing to do as well, that investment, When you have that mindset that, okay, I'm doing this, but what am I getting in return? Yeah. That employee mentality, okay, I'm showing up for this paycheck and I'm doing only this, and then what's my allowance? Working online and creating content and running an online business and working online completely as a digital nomad or expat or whatever, especially when you live in a country that you don't have employment here, you're relying on yourself and you really have to do a lot of things that there's no guarantee,
Cool. Thanks a lot for all your time. You know where to find him right now, My Greek Lifestyle. I don't know if you want to use the platform also for the other channels, but
well, you can find everything under mygreeklifestyle.com and My Greek Lifestyle on YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out. Of course, as always, subscribe to Daniel, subscribe to me, follow him, check on the videos. If you're in this moment of your life that you want to start creating content online, you want to create a business, even if you're a musician or whatever, just you have someone now to get in touch with. So thanks a lot again.
My pleasure. It was a pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Expat Experts, the podcast that takes you around the world through the stories of those who've lived it. Subscribe now to YouTube and your favorite podcast platform, and stay tuned for more inspiring interviews.